Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you are with us again to hear episode 2 of our interviews about the Music Man that we are doing at Grace Church. Again, I'm Amy Christie, and I'm directing the show. I'm also the pastor of community life at Grace. So I'm glad that you're tuning in to hear more about our process. And today you're going to hear a lot about the process. You've already met some of the cast and heard what they've been doing, but now you're going to hear from our artistic team, or portions thereof, because we have a very large artistic team. It takes a lot to pull off a musical. So I would like you to meet some of that team, and they're just going to introduce themselves and tell what role they're playing with the show and how long or how many shows they've been doing with our Grace Theater. So Dave Backler, let's start with you.
Hey, I'm Dave. I am the orchestra conductor for the show. I started out with Les Mis in 2014. I played keyboards in the orchestra for that show, and I was totally hooked from that point forward. And since then, I've conducted the orchestra for 3 more shows. I've acted in a couple of plays in spite of myself, and I'm really excited about doing the Music Man.
Just quick follow-up question, Dave. Had you ever conducted before you did Beauty and the Beast?
I had not a lot. I had 2 semesters of conducting in college, but that was a long time ago.
Okay.
So yeah, it was kind of pulling out some old skills from a long time ago.
Okay. Very fun. I don't know that I totally realized that you started in the orchestra. Very fun. It's all a blur to me. It's been a lot of years. Danny, what about you?
Yes, I'm Danny. I am the production director, stage manager for the show. I've been doing Grace shows for 6 years, I think 5 productions. So yeah, I'm excited.
You are like Dave, you started in a different role and have moved up to this role, right? Where did you start?
Yeah, climbed the ranks.
You have climbed the ladder.
Yes, I started as the lightboard operator for Beauty and the Beast. And then I did that a couple times for some of our plays. And then the first time I stage managed a show was Mary Poppins. And then done that a couple times since. So
was that 2018? Yes.
Yes.
So yeah. 5 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Lori.
Yes, Lori Seiler. I am the choreographer. I started with Grace in 2014 with Les Mis and have been doing every, musical that we've been doing as the choreographer. Also dancing in a few, but not dancing in this one.
You're done with that. You've hung up your tap shoes.
I've hung up the tap shoes. Yes. Now, if there's tap, maybe, but yeah, most part right now. It's hard for me to dance and choreograph at the same time.
But you did tap in Little Mermaid.
I did. Yes. Yeah. I was a seagull.
You did not do Sound of Music with us?
No, I did. Not the first Sound of Music. The second Sound of Music I did.
So really, you've been doing shows since 2011.
When was Les Mis?
2014.
Oh, no, it wasn't Les Mis.
It was Godspell.
Godspell. I take it back. It was Godspell.
So 12 years.
Yeah, 2011.
12 years.
It's been crazy. So long, I forgot.
Yeah, I know. We've done a lot of shows together. A lot. Lexi, welcome. You're the newer gal of the team.
I am newer. I'm Lexi. I'm head of costumes. And yeah, I came on at the very last minute last year for Little Mermaid, and this is my first production. I did a teensy bit of makeup and hair for Les Mis, but like barely any. But yeah, this is like my first actual starting from the beginning.
Are you having fun?
I'm having lots of fun.
We're as far ahead with costumes as we've ever been, I think. So good job so far. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Okay, tell me, because all of you play such vastly different roles. I mean, we've got music represented and movement and totally behind the scenes, and then creative, like visual creation. Tell me what how your role kind of adds to the whole of the art. I've been calling it a lot a tapestry that we're weaving together, and it's going to be this beautiful picture by the end. But what part are you playing in that creating of that tapestry? And I'll let you. I'm not going to call on you this time. You can decide who wants to talk.
Well, it is a musical, so we do need music to go with the musical. And so that's what we're doing with the orchestra. I've got 26 people in this orchestra, which is really huge for a community theater product or any theater production, really. That they just don't do orchestras that big these days. But we've managed to pull together that many people, and we have our first rehearsal coming up this Sunday. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, we provide all the musical accompaniment for the singing, for a lot of the dialogue scenes, for all the dancing and all that. And it's live music. There's no tracks. There's no nothing. It's just us playing live music. And it is really exciting.
And that's pretty rare nowadays. Even on Broadway, you're rarely going to a show that's all live. Yeah. That's exciting. Who's next?
Well, we create the setting for the show. So we are currently creating River City, Iowa, in our shop at Grace. And it just kind of helps, set the vibe, and, we'll have a bunch of different set pieces and people assigned to bringing out different things at different times in the show, to really help take the audience to a specific place, during the show.
And Danny, this time around, we have a set designer, which has been a real gift. Erin Meyer is her name. Can you tell us?
She's back.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what her vision has brought to the set itself?
Yeah. So think small town Americana, very simple, but we do what we do and we love what we do kind of a town. And she has the ability to, the way that she draws these things, even before she puts it into a computer, is above and beyond anything that I could ever do. And the process that she has is just so incredible, and it makes it really simple for us to follow. And yeah, she just brings it all to life, and she starts with drawings and sketches, and then she puts it into a CAD programming on the computer. And then we get the dimensions and we just kind of go for it. And then she gives us some color schemes to paint with and stuff. So.
And Lori, I'm going to talk to you next, because it's key for us, you and myself, you and I, that we have those drawings and we know what we're working with when we begin our blocking, which is where the people move on stage, and the choreography, which is where they're dancing on stage. So having all of that laid out for us ahead of time has been quite the gift. But tell us about your role and what your area brings to the production itself.
I think I've been sitting here trying to think the metaphor for the tapestry, and what am I? Am I the color? Am I the movement? Am I the, what is that? But I think it's an extension of the storytelling from a music, or I guess from a dance perspective and a movement perspective. You as the director kind of lay out your vision of the story, and then I try to enhance that with the movements, so that it, specifically Music Man, some shows very much you expect all of a sudden for them to burst out in song in this big dancing number. Music Man is a little more organic in its kind of feel to it. So my intention have always been is just to take it and enhance the storyline, to continue to allow the characters to stay in character as they're moving and dancing and having, that kind of those fun moments on stage.
Yeah. And one of the beauties of what Lori does is we have actors that have never been in a show before, and we have actors that have done extensive work in theater. And talk about, just for a brief moment, what how you think process through your choreography to be able to meet the abilities of the varying abilities that we have on the stage.
Yeah, we have everything from, I would say, probably professional dancers who have done, performance. I have an ex-Colts cheerleader, those who have danced, competitively and things like that, all the way to people who have restrictions in their movement ability. And so from every level that you can imagine, of all ages, I think we have, kind of our oldest one maybe mid 70s down to, I think, 9 maybe is our youngest.
Now maybe 8. I can't remember.
Maybe 8. So we have a full host of range of ages and abilities. And I think that I'm very intentional to make sure that it's age appropriate, but also then movement appropriate for those who struggle a bit, or those that have, can be slightly challenged. I also firmly believe that people are more capable than they think they are. So I have a tendency to push people a little further than I think sometimes their comfort zone is. But when it comes down to it, you can see they get very excited when we start to hit the show and they realize that they have done it. And so that, I feel like, is kind of my wheelhouse and my gifting of they may not like me through the process, but at the end, they're going to love me.
Yes, they always do. So Lexi, you're new. Oh, Dave, did you want to say something
not to mention that there's like 80 people on stage sometimes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, we
there
have 90
is a
people in
lot
the
of
cast.
them. Yes, so
Anybody-
it's like moving cats. They're just herding cats. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Anybody who may be watching this and say, wow, I want to design a set for Lori and Amy in the future, just know that you need to have levels, because they will cast 5 billion people.
Yes.
And everybody needs to be seen.
I think one of the most fun things too is, Lori, when you and I get to collaborate, which doesn't happen all the time, but we're pretty in sync now and kind of know. And I think I love the idea of the best idea wins. And I think that's kind of how we've all approached it as an artistic team. Is we're never gonna we don't care who has the best idea, just that there's a best idea on the table and we can put that forward. And
absolutely.
I think and sometimes cast members have a good idea, which is,
I was just going to say, I definitely, especially with those who have the leads, or even those who have a lot of musical theater experience. I try not to place my style on them. I want them to bring their own style. So specifically Sadder But Wiser Girl with Marcellus and Harold, both of them are very seasoned musical theater people, and both can move. So it was a very much a collaborative effort, as through the process of me coming with stuff and then Amy there talking through kind of their characters and their feelings in those moments and where they thought their Marcellus and Harold's relationship was, that we changed some choreography in that moment. And all of, everybody was kind of throwing out ideas, and it really, I think, is going to be a fantastic number because it was very collaborative in that moment.
Yeah, very fun. So Lexi, tell us about your role and what kind of, I mean, you're new to it. So what are you feeling as you've been entered in and done some research, and how are you feeling about it? What do you think it brings to the whole?
Yeah, so mine's kind of fun because I interact with the cast like really hands-on. So my main job is to, along with Danny, set the scene of like what's happening. And then also the costumes really help the actors get in character and like form who they are in the show itself. We have behind the scenes stuff. We have some quick changes, some different kinds of changes that are happening. And I did that a lot with Little Mermaid last year. We had a lot of quick changes for Ariel. So it's always moving in the background, which is really cool to be a part of, like the behind the scenes. I think I really enjoy that. And then just, making sure that all the cast members are comfortable and they can get into character through having their costume and yeah, making the show look a certain way and bring the audience in to feel that they're right there.
Yeah, and we're dealing with a time period this time.
Yeah.
So you had to do a little research.
Yeah, it's 1912. And so that's like a popular area for like, think of the Titanic or Mary Poppins are in the same like time period. And so, but this play specifically has like a ton of huge hats. And so I'm having to make like a ton of like giant hats for a lot of the ladies to wear, and there's some fun like extravagant women in the play, and so it's really fun to like make their character stand out with these crazy hats, and it's really fun.
They look really great too. They're super fun. Tell me what's your favorite part of the process? Because you all now Dave and Danny, you do get to enter into the actual performances because Dave's conducting and Danny's on a headset just saying Q21 go Q20 like they're but there's a lot of lead up to that as well. And Lori and myself and Lexi, it's all we're done by the time the show opens. Other than giving some notes, our job's done, and we're handing it off to these people, hoping that they pull together the vision that we've given them. But what's your favorite part of the process of getting there?
For me, two things stand out. One is just the first orchestra rehearsal, which is coming up this Sunday. And I'm always a little nervous going into it, like, what is this going to be like? And are we going to be able to handle it? And this show is very complex musically. It's got a lot of really odd rhythms in it, and it's in changes key all over the place and all that. But that's always a really exciting time when we go, okay, this is going to work. We can do this. And then the second one is the first rehearsal we have with the cast, when we just have a seated rehearsal the week before the show opens, and we just sing through the whole show with the orchestra. And it is just so awesome to, go from, singing with the piano accompaniment or with the pre-recorded tracks to the live. It's just breathtaking.
Yep.
And I love that part of the process.
And it's such a gift to get to sing with that kind of orchestra. That does not happen often. I remind the cast of that over and over. And they're good. They're so good. What else? Who else? What's your favorite part?
I think my favorite part leading up to the show is, well, I have my wonderful Jims that come alongside us. So
we don't mean the place Jim. We mean
correct.
Two men named Jim who do everything for us.
Yes. I did not know what a dynamic duo I would be making when I put them together during Little Mermaid, but it is the best thing that's happened to us by far. But they come down to I work at Grace too, and they come down to my office almost every day, multiple times a day, to ask me questions, get my opinion on something. And it's just really fun to work with people who get it and also have a vision for things that like maybe I don't have, and getting to collaborate. But then sometimes I walk back to the shop with them and to see all of the different changes that they make every day and what's being built and what's now painted and what's done. It's just really fun to watch it all come together.
They're the ones that take what's on paper and make it happen. And they
yes
volunteers that are probably putting in 40 hours a week, if not more.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Jim knows that I don't math. So anything that revolves around cutting wood and measuring, it's not for me. So he does it all.
They're amazing. Yeah. What about Lori, Lexi? What do you love about the process?
For me, I think it's I have a lot of back end work, I guess, from like, ours is really kind of, I guess, front loaded. Maybe it's the front loading of work. I spend, and I've told the cast this, for about every hour that I'm in rehearsal with them, I'm at least 2 hours for that hour at home working. And so I am very right and left brain. So I spend a lot of time of breaking down a song very mathematically and count wise and biting, chopping it up into little bits. And so part of that I really enjoy is the creative process. This year I have Jen McBurney kind of assisting me as the assistant choreographer. And being able to work with her, kind of creating and playing with stuff kind of through that process before we come to the cast is a really kind of fun thing. It's also very fun just to kind of spend some time with people that you go to church with, or kind of people you've known for a long time, and be able to see them in a different role. And then for me, it's really, I do love the teaching aspect of teaching it and seeing them, but I really love it as we move to the end of it for me. And now I can just clean it and I can watch them grow in their confidence, and it starts to really kind of come together. And I'm like, oh, the vision in my head actually does okay. It
It
works.
works. Yep. Yeah. What about you, Lexi? What have you liked since this is a new role for you? What has been kind of fun?
Yeah, kind of going off of what Lori said, like the vision coming together. Because when we first met, we had to draw up a color scheme so that the set and the costumes go together, so it feels cohesive. So, and then like this show specifically, it's starts out being Iowa stubborn, kind of boring, and then the second act is supposed to be like really lively, and so the mood changes, and being able to shift that with costumes and just seeing like the whole, especially in Iowa stubborn, just seeing all of them together. We've been trying on a lot of costumes, like with like all the women in the cast and all the men in the cast, and finally getting to see all my Goodwill runs come together and actually
So
make
many Goodwill runs.
I know.
Yeah.
Danny had to deal with my receipts. So I'm like, okay, wait, this does make sense, and it's not just craziness. So
Yeah. Tell me what you love, and hopefully you all love something. And if you don't have to talk. But what do you love about this show particularly? Particularly, what do you love about this show? Dave, I'm going to start with you because you do love this show, and you've
I
wanted
do.
to do this show for
I
a
do.
while.
I grew up with this show.
Yep.
We had the Broadway album when I was a kid. We listened to it all the time. We watched the movie every time it was on TV. That's kids. That's something where you have to wait for it to come on at a certain
Right.
time. Yeah, every time it was on TV, we watched it, and I absolutely love the show. I've been hoping for a long time that we could do it, and I think I just relate to it a lot. This guy that deep down he really wants to lead a band. That's what we discover by the end of the show. He's kind of a con man in the beginning. He was definitely a con man in the beginning, but he really wants to lead a band, and so do I. And so I get to lead a band for this show and go through the Harold Hill's growth through the whole thing. And I just love the music too. It's so beautiful and so beautifully written and executed, just in terms of the melodies and the orchestra and all the things. It's just, I really love this show.
Anyone else? What do you love about it?
I think for me, very similar. It was a family tradition of watching it when it came on. And it's something my mother loves dearly. So I love the Music Man and the fact that it allows us to do that full kind of multi-generation with all ages. But for me, I think it really kind of comes down to, I love to see the change in actually the community, and to see how the community changes, and their demeanor toward, kind of outsiders, and from that perspective. So I really like that. Plus it's kind of nostalgic for me a bit too. So
Yeah, very nostalgic for sure.
I love Marion as a character. I think in some ways I kind of relate to her. Like, I would much rather just like read books, be by myself, like do my own thing. But the way that she evolves from being kind of like grumpy and so like anti-change, and like she, doesn't want Harold to be around at all. To then, I mean, singing a cute little love song to each other. Like that is just adorable.
Yeah.
So I really like the transformation of Marion in the show. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah. Sweet. It's very sweet.
Yeah, I think I like how the music is kind of funky, like how Dave was saying earlier. It's very like different than a normal musical music. Like you'll see it right out the gate with the first number.
Yes.
It's like takes a lot of work to get those like syncopations down because they
Yeah.
are so odd. So I think I like that. And then how, especially in the movie, the choreography goes with it. I think it just all looks really cool and sounds really interesting, like not a musical you're used to hearing.
Well,
Yeah.
and spoiler alert, but I love how by the end of the show, we find out that Harold and Marion have been singing the same song all the way along and didn't realize it. And I hope that's sort of an aha moment for the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool too. Yeah. Why? Yeah, and I was gonna say that's what I was gonna say. The choreo, when you see the choreo for Marion, you guys are gonna freak out. Marion the librarian. It's so
That's
fun.
my favorite. That's
love
my
it. It's so
favorite
fun.
number.
Wait till you with the choreography. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's my
It
favorite.
is. There is something so magical when it all comes together, and the orchestra's playing, and the choreography's happening, and they're singing, and I want to say, 90 voices. We have so many strong men in this show. The chorus sounds better than maybe any chorus we've ever had. Maybe Les Mis. Les Mis, that chorus was fantastic, but man, the chorus sounds really good vocally on the show. Okay, last question. Why should people come? Why should they spend a whole $16 a ticket to come see this show at Grace?
The cheapest community theater that's good that you're going to find around here. You get $16 a ticket.
And beyond that, it's good.
Right? Wonderful. I don't know. Grace just does magic when we do musicals, and you get to see really good talent, but you also get to witness a community that's come together. And like, it sounds really cheesy to say that. And, any show you're a part of anywhere, you're always like, oh, I love my cast and blah, 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 blah. But like, we are tight at Grace. And so to just witness that and to see it, it's good.
Here's
Good
what I would
stuff.
say. If you come see this show, you will immediately want to see it again.
That's true.
Because it will be that much fun.
Yeah.
I think I always say, like, when I'm telling people that don't go to church or don't go to Grace, like, oh yeah, my church is doing a play. They're like, oh, a church play.
That's cute.
Musical.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is like a major production. So it's not like some little church play or church musical. Like, this is like legit theater, and it's so good and so professionally done, that you'll feel like you're going to an actual performance. So
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
cool.
I think there is something about we are not a traditional theater in the sense of even the venue.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
you are very close. I mean, we
Mhm.
still, over 10 shows will bring in quite a bit of people, but to be in that room, to have 80 voices singing at you, to have 25, orchestra players playing, and it is visually overwhelming. And I think that people walk away kind of in awe that, oh my goodness, there is something different here. It feels different than going to a normal community theater.
Yeah.
I think that's what I encourage people, very much like Lexi. I'm like, don't be fooled that it's at a church, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not,
And-
it's not your typical thing.
No.
And if you do go to Grace, like the room that
Yeah.
completely changes
Yeah.
within like a week.
Yeah.
Which
Because
is
it's not a
just really
traditional
fun.
theater, it's quite the
Yes.
transformation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You all are awesome. And this is just a smattering of the artistic team. There are more people that we just couldn't interview everybody or would have taken forever. But we have a large team of people that pull this off. And for me, that's the joy of the process for me, is all of my friends that I get to work with along the way, that help make this tapestry that we get to create together. So I just want to remind those of you that are watching, tickets are on sale and you can get them at gracechurch.us/theater. And we would love to see you at the show. And I'm going to tell you, you don't want to miss it. So thanks for being with us. And thank you guys so much.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.